Hey, Stubby here, and we are back on another episode of Feed the Factory. And today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. So first off, I wanted to go and create it and just a little pop around to talk about the concept that we're going to do, and then we're going to actually go to my test world and do a little bit more of a tutorial episode because I've learned some stuff that I was struggling with a little bit, and I think I've got a better grasp on it thanks to some help I got. So what I'm doing here, this building is actually going to be my central hub for anything I'm doing. And right now it's set up to bring my ores and stuff in, but eventually it'll be kind of like my Amazon warehouse. We'll be bringing stuff in, I'll have stuff moving out, but if you look at my mini map, you see all those dots. My conveyor belts are going nuts. And I just kind of want to calm that down. And part of what I want to do is get into the signals mod and run the trains. So as you can see right here, I've got a train path. That's where it's all going to go, into the world. And also start feeding other components of my factory as it gets redesigned. So we're going to hop into the creative world, and we're going to talk about how to use the signals mod because, quite frankly, it's a different beast. And I had to go in there and I had to play. I think I went through like a couple different variations of the test world, just trying to figure it all out. So we're going to load that up, and we're going to go. All right, so we are here in my creative world where I do a lot of my testing and stuff. I get get these often when I'm working on a pack. It's just easy to go into creative on another place and figure out what you're gonna do. So the signals mod adds in several new things. You get a station marker, a rail link, a engine, the rail configurator, the network controller, a chunk loader upgrade, a ticket. You get limiter rails, teleport rails, transport rails, cart hoppers, block signals, and chain signals. Now, of all of these, the only thing I haven't really messed with is the rail link. I believe it puts a delay in it. I believe I haven't fully tested that one out, so I'm not going to go over that one. And then the chunk loading upgrade. Ooh. So the chunk loading upgrade, just as it sounds, it chunk loads your minecart. I usually tend to chunk load certain areas that I need with FTB, so I didn't really get into testing that one. And then the ticket is a way to add destinations. You can use dispensers to put them into the cart and so on. But since I'm planning my routes out, I use the configurator. And I'm going to go ahead and grab that. Oh, of course it would do that because I'm in creative. All right. So the station is how you make your stations. What stops you want where. And then when you get a really cool map, signal. Now this is going to show the one thing I've noticed about this mod is if you're playing on multiple saves, like I have a creative save, I had a previous creative save that I was testing with, it keeps all of your station data. So this is going to look a lot bigger because of stuff I was testing. This over here was my old testing, and this is my new testing. So I'm not sure as to why it does that. I'm sure in the files somewhere I could find a way to remove it, but that's just something to bear in mind. If you are playing and you've had more than one save, you will see all train data, as well as all stations you've ever made. I've made stations, I've broken them, and they still exist in the list. The engine is what you use to get away from our favorite red school powering of our minecarts. You can use a burnable object, coal, charcoal, wood, etc. to feed your engines. This is the map I've already shown you. Now, the limiter rail. This slows down carts. Now, it's really only effective with the redstone powered carts, not the motors, but it will slow it down. The teleport rail basically is for cross dimension. It's supposed to go to a equivalent teleport rail on another dimension. Now, I did try to test this out, and when I placed them, I placed one here in this location, I placed one in the nether, and it kept giving me invalid link locations must be between these ranges. And I moved to that range, and it would say, oh, no, it needs to be this range. And for the life of me, I could not get these to work. I'm sure I'm probably doing something silly. I could not get these to work. And the transport rail, in my testing so far, these have just appeared to be the same as power rails. I haven't found any difference yet. The Kart Hopper. Now this is cool. A is a very fast hopper. B, you can choose between cart full, cart empty, no activity, never, for when it's going to send a redstone signal. And then you're going to choose between the cart inventory and the cart engine. So you can have a station that fills the engine up with charcoal, and you want it to wait till it's full and then depart. Now, it's not quite 100% full. It's when it gets an item in its last spot, it'll trigger it. So, the charcoal, it could be one charcoal in that spot, or your one ore in that spot. So keep that in mind. It's not 100% accurate. Block signals are the way you prevent collisions. This is how you create intersections or restricted paths for limited number of vehicles. And the chains is basically, you're going to use multiple to clear a chain of track. So we're going to go through here and we're going to talk about the stations, right? I have a test track 1 station, or track 1 station 1. I think I was going tutorial 1 and station 2. And I have a chest. There's nothing special about this one. You click on it. I've put an engine in it with some fuel, and I put the 2 stations. So you click on, you see I can do stations. You can sort by item. You can see all the various stations that I have done in here. Now if I give it a little boost, it's just going to go and go, and you can see that motor pumping, and it's just going. There's nothing telling it to stop. There's nothing there. It's just going to go, and it's going to try to go the simplest route between these 2 places. Moving on, now we have our block signals. Now looking at the block signals, you see now I have these different colors on the tracks with the arrows telling the directions, and I've also kind of placed concrete underneath to match it so you can kind of see how it's working. You see these ones have red lights, red light, green light. This is saying this segment of track right here is clear, but there's something in this one. So if I go ahead and give that guy a little push, now he's going to go. He's going to stop at this track because there's one in there. Oh, messed it all up. Now you'll see if I clear back out, they should stop waiting on each other unless there we go. I think my wall got in the way. Hopefully that'll clean it up. Yep. My wall is a little too close. But if I were to block him off because of the station, it'll work anywhere you want to stop them. Moving on, we're going to talk about the limiter. Now this is what I'm talking about. You see I have the traditional non-powered cart being powered by redstone, and as soon as it comes onto the limiter rails, you see it slowing down to a crawl, which is great for stopping a cart right at the station. You slow it down, and then you can put your redstone rail right at the end to stop it. Now, a cool thing about this is, if I can get my clicky to work, with this mod it adds the ability to right click on a track and change it. See, now he'll stop right there. But the redstone also disables the activation of the limiter. And that is how you'll use the limiter. If you don't have engines, these will slow you down just for your stations perfectly. Moving on around, now you can see I have a good proper setup of why you would use those station markers. He might be out of fuel. Oh, cool. I could just be silly and keep putting walls too close. Now you see, they're going to be going to their equivalent stations, but if at any point they get near, you see the tracks keep switching back and forth as they need. If it gets near, you see that one briefly paused, wanting to make sure it gave itself time to let the next one go. That is the beauty of these signals, and you can kind of go in and see by looking at one how they're all laid out. Now coming in here, this is the crazy example of chains. Here's where chains come in. You have this massive distribution center. What the chains do is it's clearing, the ones with the blue squares are clearing, trying to clear as much of the path as it can before it'll let it go through. And it's holding off all the other ones. It's saying, hey, I'm chaining this, I'm repeating my process all the way down. So this cart right here won't go until it can clear the whole way down. Mostly, I've seen some exceptions. And if it's going to go, and these guys are coming up, they're going to stop, even though technically there's parts clear. So this is where you're going to want to get the chains in there, so you don't have to run you know, 4 block intersections here and 4 here and 4 here. You could get really complex. And now, granted, this is a very compressed scale. You're running trains, you're going to want it much bigger, but sometimes you might want to do something like this in your factory. You might need to run in multiple places. You might want them in this kind of proximity. That's where those chain signals will come in really handy. Now over here I have the speedy Kart Hoppers. Now what I've done is I have coal here with a vending upgrade. I've set this up to cart full and inventory. And this one here is set up to cart empty, and it's going to feed in there. And I want you to see how fast they go. I've also put in a couple blocks in here to prevent progress. Like, so if a cart's here, it won't try to proceed into the station until the station is clear on both sides. Now, right now, these have nothing in them except power. So I'll feed that one, and he should stop right there. You see how fast that is filling up? That is crazy fast. And see that second one, it just queued up waiting. Now this is some cool concepts you can do, because you can make, I didn't make a display for it, but you could have, for example, your station has its unloading point, but you can have multiple queue lines if you wanted, because they will path by the shortest method possible. So if you had, hypothetically, I'm just going to do it right here, you had your station coming in, and then you could have a queue line and a queue line and a queue line like that, and then you could have them all merge like this. So you'd feed in, and a cart would go, I can't get to the station. I'm going to come right here and wait. And then the next one will come in and go, I'll go right here and wait. And then the next one will go, I'll come right here and wait. You can get really creative with the way the trains distribute in this mod. It is, quite frankly, impressive in its simplicity. It just adds a couple blocks, but it changes the way minecarts are just fundamentally used. And so this is what you're going to see. I wanted to take a minute because there's not much out there in YouTube as far as tutorials are concerned, but I wanted to show how this works and the fundamental operations, because I'm going to try to use a lot of this in my Let's Play going on forward. So you'll see these hoppers, they're going to feed in and they're going to try to empty out. And I've already filled up all of those. Let's look at upgrade. Void, thank you. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Look at how fast that's emptying. These are just so much better than regular hoppers. Something isn't right here. It's not triggering it. Why are you not triggering? Ah, easy change. Put a limiter on it. Every once in a while, you got to troubleshoot. See, there we go. Sometimes it just needs a reason to stop in the right spot. And it'll fill up, and you should see the redstone trigger. Bam! Beautiful. Yeah, and that's about it. So if you guys have any questions, feedback, comments about this stuff, please throw a message in the comments, hit me up on the Discord. And if you have any advice about those rail links and the teleport rails, I would love to hear it, because quite frankly, I tried playing with it as much as I could, and I just couldn't get it. Well, that's about it. This is going to be an amazing addition to what we can do. Just think about the massive factories you can go in and name them. I want this to be, this is my smelter, you know, and I have this factory over here, which is my Amazon. Yeah, things like that. You can just have some endless possibilities of transportation, and using this will hopefully reduce tick lag. For those that don't have the best computers, this should hopefully help. In my testing so far, not 100%. This is a very limited area of testing, but I feel like it's better than 1,000 items on belts. So, until then, I'll see you guys around. Stubby out.